Video. It is for all of our stylists who are renting salon suites who are interested in taking the next step by actually opening their own salon.
Yes, so we have a ton of good input on that. Patty was renting a chair for a long time, which I feel like is very similar to having a salon suite because it's the same rental mindset. You're there by yourself, and I was at a salon suite by myself before I opened my salon. So we thought we'd be perfect to talk about it.
To talk about this. So both Brooke and I have experienced all of the facets of the beauty industry, commission, rental, salon owners. And we just wanted to touch base on a couple like key points and topics about the difference between actually renting a salon suite and opening a salon.
Yeah, absolutely. So what would you say for you was the first step when you were deciding to open a salon?
So I was in a rental salon and I didn't have my own suite at this time. Salon suites were just kind of popping up.
Yeah.
They really weren't prevalent, so there wasn't a lot of options for them. I knew that I wanted to be able to control my client's experience and the environment that they were in, so that's why I initially took the step to open my own salon. And I knew I wanted to create an environment for other girls to work. So I made the leap, and to my surprise, it was completely different than renting. You think it's just gonna be rental on a larger scale, and it's really not.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that I decided to leave my salon suite because it was almost too busy. So when you're in a rental salon, I've never been at a rental salon, do you feel like there is kind of like still that team mentality? Like, are people still helping you?
No,
or
I could not get anyone to help me with shampoos. I couldn't get help from anybody. It was kind of like all about me sort of environment, and people were only out for themselves.
Okay.
So there was no teamwork. I did work with a couple girls who were my friends, and they were super busy as well. So it was just like if they had time, but when it came to actually getting help from others, there was no help.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, that's kind of why I switched from the salon suite into like going back into the salon, is because I missed kind of having that like support system, and I almost felt like the growth kind of gets capped off there, because once you're booked,
and that's pretty much it. You can't grow from there. There's no more room to grow in a salon suite.
Absolutely.
So I think for most stylists, like moving to an actual salon really is the next step, or they think it's the next step. And there's just some things that you can or should take into consideration if you're thinking about opening your own salon. And financially, I think there's a huge gap between an actual suite and a salon, ownership of a salon. So what would you say were some of the biggest financial differences between your salon suite and a salon?
Well, obviously the rent was much larger there, but at the salon suite they usually include the Wi-Fi, so like you had to do that, and the heat,
utilities,
water. Yes, water.
Lots of water. Expensive. Water is very expensive. Heat's expensive. Air is expensive.
Yeah. Luckily, I don't have to pay for garbage, but I think most do have to pay for garbage as well. There's so much that goes into it. And then also, I mean, hiring someone is a financial expense as well, which I feel like I never knew that hiring someone would be expensive, but it's like you have to invest so much into that person, and
So when you hire somebody, it's not just hiring somebody and paying their hourly wage or paying their commission. So there's lots of insurance that's involved. You need liability insurance, workman's comp insurance, you need unemployment insurance. You also need to pay a portion of their taxes. When you work for somebody else, they pay about 7% of your taxes. So you take that on for support staff.
Right.
There's also, the training and the hours that you put into actually building somebody up in their skills. So that's huge.
Yeah.
Another financial thing that people don't think about is when they actually sign their lease, there are definitely different types of leases. So the most common lease when it comes to actually renting a space is a triple net lease. Are you triple net lease?
Yes.
So a triple net lease is when you're responsible for taxes and CAM, and taxes you have to pay the property taxes on your square footage for your space, and then you have to pay the outside maintenance for your space. So that's like snow removal, and that's also Like if there's landscaping, if something goes wrong in the parking lot, sometimes you can be responsible for that. And there have been a couple of salon owners that I'm friends with that they would get hit with like a $10,000 tax bill or a $10,000 CAM bill. So you really have to make sure that you know what that entails and ask for previous bills from other owners like in the actual building.
Yeah, that's great, asking for the old bills, yeah.
You can also ask for previous utility bills as well, so you can kind of see what your average would be throughout the duration of your lease. But I would say, water and electric could probably be like several hundreds of dollars a month.
Yeah.
So for me, I have a gross lease, so everything is included in my rent. I don't have to worry about taxes, I don't have to worry about CAM, and then I don't have to worry about utilities. Like everything's rolled up in my actual lease. I pay,
That's nice.
Yeah, I pay more per square foot, but then it's just a flat rate every single month, which is really nice because it's easier to budget for.
Right, absolutely.
So what is another thing that you would say was like a huge difference between actually being in a salon suite and then switching to a salon?
Another big change, I mean, having more space, which sounds like it wouldn't matter, but it was very hard for me to get used to. I mean, I obviously had an assistant at the time, so in a salon suite it was kind of like I could turn right around and she would be there. And then having like all of the space and trying to like get used to like organizing where everything went and kind of figuring out the best way to
make things functional.
Yeah. And then it was kind of like, then you have like the back side of the salon and then the front side, so like keeping the team like on the front side of it and keeping everyone like filling the space.
I agree with that. A huge thing for me is actually managing people, which sounds like it might be easy, but it really is not. I think it's one of the most difficult things salon owners have to do is manage people and help people grow, and then dealing with the high turnover.
Yeah, absolutely. And then like social media, and a lot of times like making sure you're fair with promoting everyone equally, which isn't always easy because some people have more content than others, and it's kind of hard to find like the balance there as well.
I agree with that. And then for going back to the financial part of things, like your initial build out, like when you are in a salon suite, you don't have to worry about really like doing a build out. When it comes to filling a salon suite with furniture, it's a big expense, but it does not even compare to actually doing a build out for a salon.
Salon suites usually come with the bowl and the chair as well, which is awesome. Like they're great for doing that. But yeah, the salon equipment itself, I think for my salon was $10,000.
And that doesn't include like the plumbing and the floors and the actual like decor, the aesthetic.
Painting.
So your build out for an actual salon can be anywhere from $50,000 to $100,000.
I would say even more.
Yeah.
Possibly, depending on how big it is
and
how high-end you want to go.
How bougie you want it.
Yeah. I want bougie with extra.
Totally. That's what you should do, because then you don't have to redo it like I did like 5 years later. Anyways, another thing that I think is super, super important is, with a salon suite, you don't have to worry about like all avenues. Like you can just focus on your client, but when you actually have a salon, like you no longer are able just to focus on your client and your client's experience. You really have to focus on everybody else's.
That took a long time for me to realize. It actually wasn't until I invested into doing like the salon coaching where they were like, you are no longer a hairstylist, you are now a business owner. And that was actually hard, and it's almost a little bit heartbreaking because you like love doing hair. But if you are going to take the leap from being in a salon and suite to owning a salon, I think it's really important to know that you really aren't going to be a hairstylist anymore.
No, it's really just maybe like focusing on your staffs and your staff building, and actually focusing on all of the clients that come into the salon, not just yours. So it really does, you feel like you're spreading yourself thin a lot.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you do have to give up hours and time behind the chair. If you really love doing hair, then you shouldn't own a salon, because it's something that you have to sacrifice.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, your clients sacrifice because they no longer have all of your attention, because you literally are interrupted all the time.
Yeah.
And your mind is not just on them, your mind is literally on every single little thing that's going on around you. what the phone conversations are, what the stylist next to you conversation is, what the stylist down the way's conversation is. Clients like totally, I would say like their body language, are they having a good time? Like it's a lot.
Yeah,
you say that?
Yeah, absolutely. And keeping things clean and like noticing that something's dirty but you're not able to get to it, and then someone's on the phone, someone needs help, then the toilet breaks.
That's a true story. Something overflows.
That happened to me last week.
Oh yeah, that's
someone just whispers in my ear. I'm like deep in a color correction. They're like, the toilet is leaking all over, the bathroom floor is just soaked, and I'm like, I'm doing foliage. Like, I don't know what to do either. I'm like, not yet. Someone take over this foliage. I'm gonna have to go, yeah. So,
yeah, that's crazy. That sucks. I hate when things like that.
yeah.
Another thing I feel like is something that you really have to shift your mindset is you are opening your own salon. You put literally your entire life savings into the salon, and nobody treats it or respects it like you.
Yeah.
So expect things to get broken, expect your chairs to get ruined, expect people not to clean up after themselves, expect people to kind of just like treat it like they live in their parents' house. Because that's what it is. Like when you live with your parents, you don't really understand what goes into it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's totally true. And some people are great about, you know, trying to keep the salon clean, but at the end of the day, it is always different when you're the one that invested into it.
So you really have to be able to switch your mindset. I think that was one of the things that I struggled with. Like every time something would break or someone would do something that would cost money or, you know, be another expense on top of your already high expenses, that you just have to realize that's part of being a salon owner.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that financial wise, important to know that you're going to invest all this money for the build out, and you might not see that come back in for a very long time.
So as a salon suite owner, you actually get to take home your money, but when you actually own a salon, sometimes salon owners, like I didn't take home a paycheck for 3 years. So realize that your stylist will make more money than you, and they will still get mad at you that you're taking half of their money and you're not even taking home a paycheck.
Yeah.
So
I think that that's really common for everyone to think like, we have all of this money.
We don't. It really goes back into the business.
Yeah. And then right when I feel like I finally am at a point where it's like, oh wow, like I think this is like going well, and then something huge happens where you need to like take all of that money and do something with it.
That's very true. Like you have to be prepared for a disaster, and you definitely need an emergency fund. And I would say your emergency fund should be at least 3 to 6 months of your expenses.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that.
So enough to cover your rent, enough to cover products. And that's another thing that we didn't even touch base on is like, you know, not only like do you have to worry about your products for yourself, now you have to worry about products for the entire salon and actually controlling and maintaining product overusage and waste.
Yeah, absolutely. And then inventory, like you have to do that yourself, you know, unless you're gonna hire a manager, or I do everything myself. So I do the inventory, I do the social media, and inventory can be difficult because it's like I never want to be out of anything, but then sometimes I don't notice that we're running out of something when I had just done an order, and then you start to feel guilty, and waste is huge, and that goes with the redos too. So if someone, you know, if a guest isn't completely happy and we have to adjust their hair, the salon pays for that.
It does. So all in all, like I do think if you want to like grow who you are as a person, and if you really do want to kind of grow on a personal level, and you really want to lead people, you have to have a passion for leading people, then opening a salon is the right choice for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
But if you are somebody who just wants to make as much money as they can and work behind the chair and you love doing hair, then I feel like salon suite ownership is where your sweet spot will be.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. Do you have any other things that you...
I don't know. I feel like we talked about the financial stuff of it a lot, and I think we touched about, I mean, time too. So knowing that you're gonna lose time from family. And
how many hours would you say that you put into your salon every week? Like really, like how many hours do you work?
I I've tried to cut it down. When I first started, I was at like 85 hours because I was at the salon every single hour that we were open, and then I would go home and do payroll and social media, and I would try to, you know, do stuff for the education that we had. So I would say probably now maybe like 60 hours because I'm at the salon not all the time we're open, kind of still, but I do go home and do a lot of work too.
So really, if you even are making a profit, the average profit for an actual salon owner is 3 to 7%. That is the profit that you can expect if you're doing everything right. If you're budgeting correctly, if you're ordering the right amount of products, you can expect a 3 to 7% profit, which when you break down like how much money is actually coming into the salon, it's not a lot. So if you break that down to what she's doing per hour, I mean, sometimes it doesn't even, it's not even minimum wage.
Right. Yeah, it's not. Yeah.
So we love owning salon. Like
I'm obsessed.
Yeah.
I would totally encourage everyone to do it because it's such an amazing feeling to have, like so rewarding, and I've had girls who have left and gotten salon suites, and it feels good to know that like they built their business at my salon and now that they're, you know, being even more successful. Like it's a good feeling to know that you're like helping people and that you know that your guests are having the experience that you want them to have. And I would highly recommend it, but I do want everyone to know all of these things going in.
Yeah, it's definitely a different experience. So we just kind of wanted to share that with you just to kind of give you a little bit more of an educated like move to the next step. And thanks for watching.
Yeah, thank you guys for watching. And if you ever have any questions about owning a salon, feel free to reach out to us.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm always like open to talk, and I totally was like looking for mentors when I first started, so.
Definitely reach out to Brooke from Brooke Bauer Boutique. And then of course you can always direct message me at Opulent Beauty Salon if you have any questions.
Perfect, cool, that's awesome.